Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. I'm in the kitchen. I've just got back from a few days at the farm and the dishwasher's packed up. Now, Coco and I are very concerned because we're in charge of cleaning up. Christine does all the wonderful food preparation, makes us yummy home-cooked meals and some baked treats, and we have to make sure the kitchen's clean, so I need this thing working. Okay, it's a Bellini. I'm not sure of the model number. I'll look that up shortly. It's only a relatively cheap brand through basically a hardware store, but it's been great. For 5 years it's worked without any faults, but right now it won't wash. In fact, it won't seem to fill up with water, and a red light comes on here where it says the water tap. So I assume that it's some sort of filter blockage or perhaps some other issue. And as you can see, we've got some dishes to wash. I'll have to do these by hand, but I thought I might as well take you along on this ride. We'll see if we can fix it. If we went out to buy another one and just replace it, well, that would be very wasteful and it would probably cost us about $600 or $700. If we called a tradie in, it would probably cost $200, $300, maybe more. I don't know. I reckon we can have a go at sorting it out ourselves. So I've just turned it on to show you exactly what it's doing, and there's a red light flashing. There was a couple of beeps and it's next to that water tap symbol. And I actually just noticed that there's a key here. Water tap symbol means the water supply. So there's a fault with the water supply. Some models may give an error code on some sort of display to indicate the same thing. I believe it's fairly common with dishwashers. So we've got to go through the steps and identify, oh, it's beeping again. Just make sure that there's nothing simple gone wrong first before we start pulling it out and looking further. Okay, let's have a peek under the cupboard where the hoses come through. I've just cleaned it out. We had a little frame here for the rubbish bins and of course all your normal under sink detergents and stuff. So it's a good chance to wipe out the bottom shelf. I've got an old towel here because we're bound to spill a bit of water. So the hoses come in from the hole at the bottom from the dishwasher, and there's the power wire that goes through as well. This one, the light grey one, is the water inlet pipe, and it also has some wires in it because where it connects to the water up there, there's a grey solenoid valve. So that could be the fault. There could be a blocked filter, which would probably just unscrew that collar and get to the filter and have a look at that. So there might be a fault in the machine as well, but we need to establish what's going on here first. First few things to check. Assume nothing, check everything. That's the water tap, and it comes through the wall there, and one side goes to the kitchen sink, to the taps, and we have water there, so there's no problems. That tap turns them both on and both off at the same time. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have water to the inlet hose. We'll check the filter. Then we'll have to have a look at maybe the solenoids playing up. And to do that, we're probably going to have to slide the dishwasher out. The other thing to check if you've just installed a dishwasher is just to make sure the pipe isn't kinked, because that will block off your water flow. This has been working fine, so I'm sure there won't be any kinking issues. But first thing, we'll have to take that collar off there and make sure the filter's not blocked. So we'll turn the tap off, and I suppose that's going to be pretty tight. Yep, I have to get some pliers under that. Okay, that's got it. We may get some drips. Okay, just a few drips, and that looks nice and clean. So there should be no blockages there, because that little filter thing will catch a lot of muck if it comes through. So that should be okay. We'll just put a little bucket here and make sure we have water coming through from this tap. Yep, no worries. Good water pressure there. So now we're going to turn the power off to the dishwasher, pull the plug. And as we slide the dishwasher out of the cavity next door to here, we need to feed the pipes through, because I don't think they'll pull through on their own, and we don't want to damage the pipes at all. I think it might be easier if we unclip this door. Now, some dishwashers are attached to the benches, or maybe even a bracket on the side. This one freestands. Excuse me, Coco. If you come to help. Hey, come on, out the road. People can't see. Okay, so the dishwasher is going to slide out, but we need to keep pushing those hoses through the holes. Okay, the dishwasher has come out from its hole, its hidey spot. The hoses, I'm going to have to unhook the drain hose and I'll be able to pull them both right through, and then we can tip the dishwasher over, because we need to get to that back panel where the hoses go into the machine. They don't sort of screw on like a washing machine hose does, and we need to get into the wiring to actually test if that solenoid's working. So the drain hose, or the discharge hose, just goes into the plumbing there under the sink. So that's just got a standard hose clamp. I'll take that off and hopefully I can feed them through the hole. I think the hole's big enough to get the solenoid through. And once I get the whole thing free, I can then tip the dishwasher over and we'll have a look at how to access the back of it. Okay, so I've got enough length here to lay the dishwasher over. I've used a couple of old pillows. I pulled the discharge hose through. It went through okay, but the main water inlet line, the solenoid valve thing wouldn't fit through the hole. So I'm not sure exactly how we put it in here. Well, we had a new kitchen at the time. Maybe it was kind of assembled with it already through, or maybe it comes out from here easily. I'm not sure. We did put it in, but that was about 5 years ago. So the good thing is that I can lay the thing over and the hose is still long enough and I don't actually have to feed it back through the hole. Hopefully I can get the discharge one back through okay. Next step now will be to take this little panel off and see what we've got behind here. So I've removed the one screw. That's just some sort of clamp. Oh yep, so we can now slot that out. Oh, that's the discharge one. This is the one we need to get into. So, and we can't. So it looks like we're going to have to remove a side panel perhaps to see where it goes. Remembering there's some wires in this one as well, and we need to access the where the plug is, assuming they plug on, to see if the solenoid works. Actually, I think the bottom panel will be the easiest way to do it. Yes, that looks like the easiest access. Something screwed in through here. It must come off with the panel, I hope. Okay, here we go. Alright, that's a little float switch there, I think. I'm not sure how that works, but we're more interested in this. That's the discharge from the pump. There's our water inlet with our wiring. Yeah, there's a plug around behind here. Okay, we can test the solenoid from there. Okay, let's get a bit of light on the subject, and we've got a boxer report as opposed to a lab report. These little hoses here, I think, are overflow hoses. If something goes wrong with the main body or it leaks or something, and the bottom tray has a bit of a cavity in it, so it would kind of fill up as a bit of a lake, and this float actually then would turn on a sensor to tell you that you've got a leak. So that's what that's for. Our wires over here, we have the main wire that provides power to the solenoid, but there's also another couple of wires here going to a little plastic thingo with a control panel there. So that's would be a sensor that when water isn't flowing into the machine, it lights up that red tap light that we saw. So the sensor's working. We don't have water. It has to be the solenoid. I can't see what else it could be, but we'll try and test it now. We'll put the meter on that and see what reading we get. This is interesting, Coco, is it? Do we get a reading from you? Beep. All right, we're going to need ohms. And can you see the meter there? I'm not sure you can. Hang on. All you can see is a dog. All right, there we go. There's the meter. If I put these across the plug here, which you can't see, we have open circuit. So that going to the solenoid should give us an ohms reading because there's a coil in the solenoid. So I'd say the solenoid's burnt out. If we had a reading there. The solenoid coil could have been okay, but the actual valve could have been stuck. But it's looking like, just check that that's all right, yep. It's looking like the actual solenoid coil is burned out. We're open circuit. All right, now I have to pull it out and order a new one. So I've unplugged the wires and I've removed a bit of just a collar that went around the pipe where it went through the body of the dishwasher, and I've managed to get the hose off the plastic fitting there. I had to be fairly careful because the plastic's quite small and fine. I didn't want to break it. So that then gets the end of our hose out. Oh, my light fell over. You can see it had a little clamp thing on it, which we probably should, I would imagine you get a new one with a new hose, but I'll keep that one anyway in case, because I think we can reuse that. And I can now feed this wire or hose back through the cupboard and pull it out and order a new one online. I think you can get aftermarket ones fairly cheaply. Okay, I've drained all the water out of the hose. I've put the bottom panel back on with just 2 screws, so now I can stand the dishwasher up, put it back in its hidey hole until I'm ready to put the new bit of pipe on, whenever it turns up. Until then, I guess I've got hand washing to do. A week later, and we have our hose from eBay. There's the invoice. And we'll see how well they packed it. And hopefully it's going to suit the machine. Okay, well, it's just in a box, no extra packing, and that's fine. We don't want plastic, and this sort of stuff isn't going to get broken in the mail, you would hope. The box itself I will reuse for one of my eBay sales. Okay, so it looks the same. They did offer 2 different lengths, so I think this is the one we need. I better just check. It's the same diameter, and it looks like it's the same length. Perfect, excellent. Let's get the meter out and just check the, oh, they give us a little, oh no, that's right. They don't, do they give us a, oh, that's the old one. They don't give us a clamp, so just as well we kept the other clamp. Let's get a meter out and just check the solenoid and see what a new one measures. Okay, remember our other one was open circuit. So let's see what sort of reading we get through here. Well, that's interesting. Why is that open circuit? I mean, it's going to be okay. It's a new one. But maybe it's a little bit of a different setup in here than what I was thinking. I'm still fairly certain this has to be the problem, because we just weren't getting water from this part to this part. So, well, in the old one. But I would have thought we would have had an ohms reading through there. Okay, rest easy guys. I had the meter on 0 to 200 ohms, expecting it to be a very low resistance being a coil, but it must have a resistor in circuit, because when I altered the range we're at 20k, so it's 4000 ohms, 4k through that solenoid, and on the old one, just to make sure that it is no good, is still open circuit. So that's fine. It just had a higher resistance than I expected, but there's the difference. So we'll put this new hose in, should fix all our problems. Back into the kitchen tonight, and I can tell you that I'm sick of hand washing dishes. I never used to have a dishwasher, but now that I've got one, I don't think I can live without it. Now, just between you, me and the gatepost, there was a minor incident with water pouring out from under the doors of this cupboard. I had forgotten to plug off this where the wastewater from the dishwasher goes into the P-trap here. And when I did a load of hand washing and let the plug go in the sink, most of the water probably went down, but a hell of a lot came out here, and it went all down the base of the cupboard and came out under the doors. So minor hiccup, just be aware of that you do need to plug the drain from the sink, because it will come back out there. Probably even as simple as a little cork in there would probably do. It's not under pressure, and most of it, well, a fair bit of it would actually go down the drain. But I had a few bits in the shed that I just made up a plug for it, because it's been a bit over a week now since I've had to do hand washing. Rightio, first step now, we'll drag the dishwasher back forward. I'll feed the new, actually I might feed the discharge hose back up through because I think that might be a little bit awkward. And then I can feed the water supply line back through from the top here, and we can then get the dishwasher over on its front and hook everything up. Hoses through successfully. It was definitely better putting the drain pipe back up through because it was a bit awkward, and then the other one fed through quite nicely. I've cleaned out the floor into here, so we're really just ready to feed this hose in through there. Take the bottom panel off. We only put 2 screws back in, remember? And we can hook up the plumbing, plug in the wiring, and then it's just a matter of sliding it back in and hooking up the hoses in this cupboard. Okay, there shouldn't be anything complicated in putting it back together. We've got the wiring and the hose through the hole. I think we have to put the plug through first. That's better. And we've got to slide the clamp on. So lucky we kept the clamp. And the plug will be fine. The wires don't matter which way they go around, it's AC voltage. And we've also got this sleeve to lock that outer sheath into the cabinet, so that's fine, they can go on afterwards. So let's get the hose onto the little sensor housing here without breaking anything. It's quite soft hose, so it should slide on okay. Yep, beautiful. We'll get our clamp down there. Now it's not a normal screw up type hose clamp, it's kind of a crimp one, but I think it kind of locks in position once you squeeze it up. Now I suspect they're one use only things, so I've got a normal hose clamp from out of the shed. So we'll slide that one on. Probably that way will be the easiest. Okay, slight adjustment required. I've fed more of this through, so we've got enough wiring and we've got enough of the outer sheath to clamp. I'm just going to snip a bit back off this inner hose. I guess they'd probably make it a little bit longer to suit different models. So I think we'll just snip it off about there. Will give us plenty of room. Okay, installation's all complete. It's neat, nothing's in the road. I've put a cable tie back on there. And the hose clamp's tight, but if it did happen to leak, that's where this bottom tray would let us know that there's a leakage, but that should be fine. So I've got this clamped back up here, so we're all ready to put the base back on and then reinstall it into its little hidey hole. Okay, everything's attached and securely positioned out of the road. I won't put the frame back in for the bins. There's a frame that goes outside. You can see all the holes for the little recycle bin and rubbish bin. I'll just make sure there's no leaks beforehand. So I'll turn the water on and we'll switch the dishwasher to a fast cycle and we'll just give it a run, make sure it fills up with water and everything works properly. Just powered her up. It's beeping and buzzing like it normally does. No sign of any flashing warning lights at this stage and no drips from under the cupboard. We'll just leave it run and make sure everything's okay. And listen to that, the joyous sounds of a dishwasher running. Fantastic. My dishpan hands may recover and there's no drops, so all happy, successful fix. I'll put the rest of the cupboard back together and we're in business. And I'm happy to report, guys, that the dishwasher has been working flawlessly. So we've fixed the problem. We have this old line to dispose of, but I thought I might pull the wiring out. We'll probably use the tube for something. Even the inner hose might be handy. So there's some useful materials in here. And I'm keen to have a look at what's in this actual solenoid. So we might hit it with a hammer and just see if there's a little coil in there. There won't be much copper, but it was just curious to have a look. The swivel joiner here looks like it might be chromed brass, but it's not. I think it's just it might even be an aluminium, so I might as well save that as well. Might as well recycle everything. So we can start by cutting the plug off. And I'm not sure how this clamp, these apparently aren't serviceable, that's why you have to buy the thing as one unit. But I reckon we might be able to cut diagonally across that little collar. We might be able to save that hose, chop the wires off that end, And then this looks like it's molded in one seam right round, and then probably a hacksaw through the plastic will get that fitting off as well. So I'll just do a little bit of surgery with a hacksaw. I'll be back shortly. Okay, the autopsy is complete. I've got a little bit of wire. That's mains wire that ran right through inside the pipe. It is a solenoid valve. I've managed to cut it in half, but it was very hard to get into. It was all molded, and you can see there is a spool of copper wire there like a typical solenoid, but I'm not sure why it had such high resistance. There must be a resistor in there of some sort to serve some function, but that's what it is. I wouldn't worry about trying to scrap these for the copper wire. That took quite a bit to get into. I had to cut right around it with a hacksaw and then hit it with a hammer. There's some of the broken bits. The rest of them have all scattered around my vise. This collar is aluminium, so since I got it apart, I might as well put that in the aluminium bin. But again, that took quite a bit because the pipe that went in there was molded in. You couldn't just cut it off one side and tap it through. So they're certainly made not to be serviced. There's some pretty good quality hose here. It's quite thick and yet it's fairly supple. So I will hang on to that. It may be handy in the shed. Same with this outer sheath. It's much the same as normal washing machine drain hose, but I'll keep that bit for now in case it's handy. So there we go. A little bit of scrap, some aluminium and some wire, and that could possibly go in electric motors, but it's a bit of a pinch because there's not much copper in there. So there you go. That's the end of that hose. It served its purpose for 5 years, and now it's been replaced. And here's the invoice for the replacement piece that I bought from a seller called Oz Spares. I've never dealt with him before. I just searched for someone that was selling these items, and it listed the model number on his listing to suit mine, and it was indeed the right one. So total cost, including postage, just under $40 Australian. That's pretty good. I think a genuine one would probably cost you around 100, but I can't. They're probably made in the same factory. I can't see that it's going to make a big difference to it. The other one looked identical. Quite often genuine parts really the same part, just in a box that says it's a genuine part. So, you know, for the sake of under $40, I'm happy with this bit. It went in quite well, as you saw. It wasn't very complicated to do, and it probably took me all up about, maybe about an hour and a half. Obviously, because I was filming, it took me longer, but I think it's a relatively straightforward job for any handyman. And what's it saved us? Well, it saved us going out and buying a new dishwasher, which I'm sure a lot of people do. And if we did call out a tradie, assuming you could get a good, reliable tradie that turned up when he said he was going to, what would it cost? I mean, they would probably charge out $100 for the part at least. Call out fees, an hour or so's labour, it could cost you $300 or more. So great way to do your own dishwasher repairs. Pretty straightforward. I'm happy I got this done, and now I can save my hands from being soaked in dishwashing liquid until I scrub up some more tools for my videos. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.